What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more, you guessed it, r/am I the butthole. If you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And just a huge thank you for being here today, for taking the time out of your days to be here, to click that like, to, all the good stuff. I don't have to tell you guys. Thank you so much. And with that being said, let's get in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for losing it when my fiancée cancelled my job interview? I'm male 33, been engaged to my fiancée female 28 for over 7 months, and we're planning on having the wedding next year. Thing is, I've been struggling to find a new job after I lost my previous job due to reasons that are out of my control. And it was hard because I worked so hard for this company and I ended up being told I was no longer needed. I've been struggling with rent and bills, and my fiancée is the one taking care of rent for now, while I take care of other things and help as much as I can. After looking for 4 months, I finally found a potential job opportunity and contacted the company and set up a date for an interview. I've learned that the manager is a lady, and for a reason that pissed my fiancée off. She told me having a woman as your boss is never a good thing, because she says women take advantage of their positions and get employed to do things for them so they could benefit. I thought that was just wrong and ignorant, to be honest. She told me to keep looking for other jobs and cancel my interview, but I refused. I wasn't going to throw this opportunity away after looking for months. Besides, I feel frustrated and helpless without a job, not to mention not being able to pay for rent and other things, since she complains that I don't contribute in anything. She threw a fit and kept bringing it up over and over again. A few days ago, I found out that she used my laptop and cancelled my interview with the company. I was so mad when I contacted the company and they told me they had other potential employees that attended interviews and that I was 2 days late. I yelled at my fiancée, especially when she didn't even deny it. She thought I was overreacting and that she'll try and find another job for me. I just couldn't take it and yelled at her for cancelling an important interview because she felt insecure. She got upset that I called her out on her insecurities and thought I was in the wrong for how I reacted. She's refusing to even talk about it without me apologising to her first. I haven't apologised and she's even more pissed, saying I shouldn't treat her like this when she's working and paying for the rent, and I should appreciate her for that instead of being mad at her. Now, I think in this story would be pretty valid if we go down the Reddit route and just said red flags, run while you can, because that says manipulative and controlling all over. She doesn't like a woman being your boss. I mean, oh my word. Then went onto your laptop and cancelled the interview, and then has the cheek afterwards to complain that you're not contributing anything. So how controlling is that? That's absolutely insane. Get out of there while you can, not the arsehole. And let's have a look at some of the comments below. Just a Jiggly Giraffe says, not the arsehole, and welcome to a preview of what your marriage will be like if you go through with it. This controlling, jealous and abusive behaviour typically only increases once you've locked the spouse down. Doubly so if you don't have your own income or control of finances, leave you with no real way out. Your shadow twin says, not the arsehole, run while you still can. What was I doing says, not the arsehole, I don't generally recommend this unless a relationship is physically abusive, I really don't. Usually I just say you need to consider if this is working or that it's going to be hard work from here, things like that, but seriously, dump her ass and get out. You can't fix this kind of stupid behaviour, and she will continue to do crap like this throughout your entire relationship. Get out now, run, don't walk. Mordella says, everyone is saying to run and nobody is explaining why. What she did is a form of financial and emotional abuse. She cancelled your interview so 1, you won't be under the control of another woman, and 2, she can be the one in control of finances, and 3, continue being praised and in control for being the only one bringing home the bread. Not the arsehole, get out and get away from her. Now, what would you do in this situation if you was OP? Would you run, or would you face it a different way? Would you confront her and try to deal with this and try and save the relationship? I don't think it can be saved, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not letting my niece host her wedding at my castle? 28 years ago, my wife and I combined our savings, most of which came from inheritance after my father's passing, and bought our, air quotes, castle in southern Europe. It was actually a derelict farmhouse with some land, but it has a small turret, so our family has always referred to it as the castle. My wife and I decided we'd rather have a small basic house in our home county and focus our time and resources readying the castle for us to retire in and for our children to enjoy. It took years, but around the time our eldest was born, it was finally finished. It's not massive, 5 bedrooms and a small pool in the garden, but it is our paradise. We've always allowed our families and friends to use it whenever they please, and have spent every summer vacation staying there with our children. Our only stipulation when people stay there is that the master bedroom is off limits. It takes up most of the 3rd floor, with the remaining bedrooms on the 2nd floor. A lot of my and my wife's belongings are in there, and it's also the room where we shared together for over 20 years. Recently, my niece got engaged and held an engagement party on Zoom at the weekend. When asked what ideas they had so far, she excitedly told me they'd actually been planning to ask us if they could hold the wedding at the castle. I was a bit taken back, but didn't want to outright refuse. I joked it would have been a rather small wedding since they struggled to fit more than 25 people in the gardens. She gushed that she'd already thought it through and they'd put up canopies in the field nearby. We don't own that land, and if all the guests stayed in hotels in town, she would arrange transport for us all to get to the villa. My wife and I bit our tongues not wanting to make a fuss during their engagement celebration, but later when my niece texted me to repeat what she had said, I asked her to clarify the sleeping arrangements, and after some back and forth, it came to light that she plans to use the master bedroom as the bridal suite, and for the wedding party to have the remaining rooms. My wife, children, and I would stay elsewhere. I slept on my decision and spoke with my wife. On Sunday I responded and politely refused, saying I didn't think it would work since it's too small and we aren't comfortable having anyone sleep in our room. Both she and my sister blew up at me telling I was ruining her wedding and she's always dreamed of marrying at the castle. My sister even said I used my inheritance, it's family property, which is obviously ridiculous. My daughter agrees with my wife and I, but my son said we should just grin and bear it for one weekend to let her have her dream wedding. I'm really conflicted. Am I the arsehole? Now, what always gets me with these posts, it would be really nice if she had a dream wedding at a dream place and all that sort of thing, but this is your property. And she feels entitled to it. And the sister to say that it was bought with inherited money, so it's family property, that instantly, I would see red on that and be like, no, not happening. I'll just shut down, no way. And I assume your sister got quite big inheritance as well. What did she spend it on, I wonder? She bought a new car with it. I'd just jump in and say, well, this is part mine now. And it's hilarious that she actually thinks that you need to leave the property, your property for the night as well. You need to go and stay elsewhere. I mean, what the hell? That is your house. That is your second house and your dream place. What if they damaged it? Are they going to pay for it if they've taken out any sort of insurance to cover if any of the wedding party damaged the house? That amount of people, something's going to go wrong. Someone's going to spill a drink. Someone's going to drop food somewhere and damage one of your carpets. Something will go wrong. And will they cover that damage too? Because I guarantee you they won't. And the fact that she just comes out and says, yeah, we're going to put canopies up in the neighbouring field that you don't own. It just says it all. Their entitlement really, doesn't it? So yeah, not the arsehole in my opinion. Well, don't let them go there. They can find somewhere else. But Jizna, oh God, says, not the arsehole. Do you know what your sister bought with her part of the inheritance? If so, good news. It's yours now. Be sure to let her know. Chaton the Danger says, not the arsehole, you offered a compromise, but she has refused. This isn't just an extra property that you rent out. It is your second home and where you plan on retiring. Although I don't think it would be the end of the earth to accommodate them, the fact that they expect you and your immediate family to rent hotel rooms to attend a wedding in your property is ridiculous. Also, all these plans hinge on her getting access to a property that you don't own to host canopies. And not to mention, she will need access to the castle ahead of time to set up all the vendors and do a walkthrough. It's a bigger commitment and expense than she realises. Just an aside, you would also have to get some sort of event insurance policy to cover anyone getting injured or driving drunk or damaging the neighbouring property. Something to consider too. Noah X Counter says, not the arsehole, it's your property and they shouldn't expect your whole family to vacate the property so they can have a wedding in your home. That's incredibly selfish. 87 North says, not the arsehole, you took the high road multiple times here. During the Zoom meeting you bit your tongue. You slept on your decision without making it and now your family has the audacity to make you feel bad. I would have a discussion with them on where you draw boundaries because they clearly crossed it by planning an entire wedding that banked on a property that isn't theirs. Wickedly Lucky says, not the arsehole, it isn't a family property, it is yours and you have been generous. No one should demand your room, plus it should be that your family goes to a hotel. And finally, NMC Azrael says, not the arsehole, your niece is so entitled. She expects to host a wedding without even asking you first, before telling everyone, and expects you to give up your whole house for it. Then expects whoever owns the land near you to just let her use it without even asking. She has no right to expect these things and just get upset about. It's your house. Now, what would you do in this situation? Would you let your niece use the castle because, you know, she's already planned the wedding? Or would you tell her straight up no? Or have some other compromise? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Local Caramel. Am I the arsehole for leaving my new co-worker to figure things out after she reported me for giving advice? I have a new co-worker, Steph, who started working here in early October. We worked in a department of less than 20 people, and our manager is Steve. Steph is new to an office environment and has never worked in our field before. There's some pretty obvious gaps in her knowledge, and Steve asked me if I could help her out, just until she got a handle on everything, and I agreed. She's mostly trained now, but she still regularly asks me for help. Steph has been reporting our co-workers to Steve for minor issues, ranging from discussing the election to a co-worker receiving a call from her son while at her desk, which technically they shouldn't be doing, but there's not many people left in this office and we're not very uptight about these kind of things, so as long as everyone gets their work done and no one acts the maggot. Steve has to go through the procedure every time, and while he's never said it was Steph, people have figured it out, and it's annoyed them because the meetings take up free time they could be doing other stuff. She's even reported Steve to himself over our relationship, which has annoyed him too. Steph has noticed she's not making friends, and 2 weeks ago she asked me why. I tried playing it off, but she insisted she wanted to know. I responded that she was a little quick to report stuff that isn't really an issue, and that while I didn't want to discourage her from reporting in the future, her reporting minor things could put the others off a bit. She just nodded and went back to work. Steve called me in the next day saying that someone had told him not to report anything ever. I told him what happened and it was all fine. I then asked Steven if I had to continue helping Steph after this, and he told me to do what I felt was best. So now I'm just not helping her. She asked me for help more than once in the last few days, and I've just told her that I'm busy. Steph has noticed my sudden withdrawal from her. She stopped me after work and asked her why I stopped helping her, and I said I have my own work to do. She then said something about how if I'm doing this to make her feel bad, then it's working, but it's also fucking everyone else over, because if she can't complete her work, then either I'll have to do it for her, or everyone else will eventually hit a point where they can't progress without Steph's stuff, and that I owe it to her and to everyone else to act professional and not let this get in the way. The reason I'm now doubting my actions is that she's right. If I don't help her and her work gets backed up, then either I'll have to do it myself or we'll all end up waiting on her to do it. And as a team and a department, we need to look like we have our shit together right now, or to make the whole department look bad at a time the company has hinted at cutbacks. And this just feels petty by comparison. Am I the arsehole? You know, Steph sounds like a bit of an arsehole to me. And surely if her work gets backed up and it's just piling up on her, surely she's going to be the only one that looks bad in the end, not your whole department, because it's all sitting on her desk waiting to go through to you. So hopefully she would get in trouble in the end and not the rest of you, and probably be replaced, right, with someone that might be quite decent. And surely it's just simple logic. If you want someone to help you, you don't shit on them. It just doesn't work like that. Let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Ray says, not the arsehole. Steph is a born troublemaker and you need to document all your interactions with her, because now she's going to go after you. Steven needs to do this too, because she really needs to be fired before she destroys the whole team and department. Bold Hyper says, not the arsehole, she'll get fired if that happens too much. To which OP replies saying, Steve and I actually have discussed that. We both had a hand in hiring her and we approved it because we felt she'd fit in well, but that hasn't happened. However, we can't get rid of someone because they filed too many reports. Carrie says, not the arsehole. Maybe Steph should have thought of that before she became the office snitch. To work in an office, you need to play the game and don't report others constantly. It's a rule you learn when you're in kindergarten. If she can't do her work without others helping her, maybe she shouldn't be working in the position. She can be replaced with someone who knows how to do it. She got this job as a show of faith and she's abusing it. It's not your job to hold her hand the whole way. Let her figure it out, lose her job, or learn how to make friends. She's a big girl now. And Hestang says, not the arsehole. Help is a two-way street. She hasn't been helpful to the working environment. Other malicious compliance with her over-reporting unnecessary things. Is there any way you can report her for threatening to create a backup/inefficiencies over you specifically not bending over backwards for her? Or her causing inefficiencies by paying way too close attention to everyone else while she should be doing her own job? She needs to learn that she doesn't progress in her career by just ratting on everyone. The whole person comes to work and she doesn't need to be ruining the office environment for everyone. Now, what would you do in this situation if you had an office snitch like that? Would you try to get rid of them? Would you tell them the error of their ways? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on the poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from Superhoovian Lock. Am I the arsehole for not allowing my sibling to see my kids because of a nickname she calls me? My 33 female sister, 36 female, has always been slightly upset over the path I took in life. I got married, had 2 kids and was a stay-at-home mum for the past few years up until my divorce. She loves my kids, 8 male and 5 female, and loves to brag about being an auntie. My sister and I had a tough time growing up together because of our own issues, and we were never really close. However, when she found out I was able to have a viable pregnancy, she got weird. She's never had kids of her own, now refers to me as the breeder, as I am the only one of my siblings to have kids. At first I brushed it off because it's weird and not really malicious, or so I thought. When my youngest was born early, she refused to show up because the middle name was a name she had wanted, and I should have waited till she had a child to have another. She now uses the name breeder to refer to me. I've told her I don't like it and to use my name. She has refused. At one point she called our mother and asked, "How's the breeder?" To which our mum told her to call me by my name or hang up. She chose to end the call. I get she may be upset that I have kids and my heart goes out to her, but at the same time I feel like she can't say she's happy to be an aunt and loves my kids if she constantly being mad at how she even has a niece and nephew in the first place. I've told her the name bothers me and she continued, so I all but cut her off. Her messages get left on read and I bitch blocked when she calls. I leave her out of social media posts involving my kids and don't take my kids to places if she's there. This is called friction, as my mother backs me up and is accused of only taking my side because I'm the breeder and gave her grandkids. My mum's opinion on it comes down to, they are your kids, do what you want. I've gotten messages from her friends about how I'm a horrible sister and she misses the kids and I'm doing this because I'm the breeder and have nothing else to hold over her. I refuse to back down until she stops calling me that, but as her friends are using the term, I don't see it happening. So Reddit, am I the arsehole? Edit, I understand why everyone is suggesting calling her Baron, but I don't want to A. stoop to her level, B. hurt her the way she has hurt me, and more importantly, C. teach my kids that it's acceptable to be rude and mock someone for things out of their control. And too true, that is such a good way of putting it too. You definitely don't want to stoop to her level, and such a kind heart, someone with empathy doesn't hurt someone the way they've hurt you, you know. And like you said, most importantly, teaching your kids the right way to go about it. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right in this position to just totally cut her off until she learns some bloody manners. And yeah, and really apologises for what she's doing. I mean, she's told her friends and now they're calling at you too. It's just absolutely disgusting, I think. But let's have a look at some of the comments to see what they say. Ophelia's Dinosaur says, not the arsehole, your sister sounds like a bitter, jealous arsehole though. Nope, no contact with you or the kids until she respects you and your feelings. How would she feel if you called her the Baron or the Unwanted or something similarly vile that relates to why she doesn't have kids? She'd hate it. Also, if something starts as a joke and turns nasty, it's still nasty. When someone says, oh, it's just a joke, they don't get to decide how it makes you feel. Mr. Nancy says, not the arsehole. You're doing the right thing by enforcing healthy boundaries and your sister cannot respect this. Even your mother is enforcing healthy boundaries by requiring your sister to call you by your name or hang up. I'm every situation your sister is refusing to be empathetic and I see how it affects you. Do not reward her behaviour by caving in. Refuse her auntie privileges until she can grow up and respect you for who you are, life choices and middle names and all. And How Dare Bread says, oh my god, this is laughable, it's so ridiculous. Oh yeah, obviously you're not the arsehole. If you called her the spinster or Baron, I think I'd have a very different response. Maybe she would realise how hurtful it is. And Marvo Panaveris says, not the arsehole. If your sister actually refers to you exclusively by the nickname, the breeder, then she is a grade A bona fide lunatic based off that alone. That's such a weird way to insult someone. Now, What would you do in this situation if someone was calling you the breeder after you just had kids and you was a stay-at-home mum? How would you react to that? Would you cut them off like OP has done in this situation? Or would you try to get her to sit down and explain why it's making you feel bad? Or would you go down a completely different route? Let us know in the comments below how you deal with it, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Once again guys, thank you for being here, and also just to mention, if you are a member, don't forget that we're posting a video on Saturdays. We've posted several other member videos in the past, and I know some of you ain't getting to see them. For some reason YouTube doesn't notify you of member videos. Be sure to check in the community section of the page, or if you're a Patreon member, head on over to the Patreon page where they're posted in the feed there too. And once again, thank you for being here. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, much love.